Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learn English with Mike. I'm your host, Mike, and I am joined today by the wonderful Sarah. Hey, Sarah.
Hi, Mike. It's great to be here.
Today we have a really interesting topic to discuss, something I think everyone can relate to. The question is, what would you tell your younger self?
Ooh, that's a big question. There are so many things I wish I had known back then.
Exactly. It's a great way to reflect on the life lessons we've learned. So today, we're going to share some advice we'd give our younger selves about life, confidence, habits, and mistakes. So, Sarah, let's dive right in. What's the very first thing you would tell a younger version of you?
The first thing, without a doubt, would be, don't be so afraid to make mistakes.
That's a classic.
It really is, but it's so important. I spent so much of my youth terrified of looking stupid or getting something wrong. Especially in school, I would never raise my hand to answer a question unless I was 100% certain I was right.
Right? You missed opportunities to participate.
Totally. I missed chances to learn from being wrong. This fear of failure or perfectionism really held me back.
I completely get that. It's like we're taught from a young age that mistakes are bad, that they're a sign of failure. But as I've gotten older, I see them as stepping stones.
Stepping stones. I like that.
Yeah, you can't learn to ride a bike without falling off a few times. You can't become a great cook without burning a few dishes. And you certainly can't learn a new language without making mistakes.
That's such a great analogy and so relevant for our listeners. The fear of saying a word incorrectly or using the wrong grammar can be paralyzing.
It really can. So my advice to my younger self and to everyone listening would be to embrace those mistakes. Be proud of them. Each mistake is proof that you are trying, that you are pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. A mistake isn't a judgment of your worth. It's just a piece of data. It shows you what you need to work on next. Looking back with hindsight, which is the understanding of a situation only after it has happened, I see that the only real mistake was being too afraid to make any.
Perfectly said.
That actually leads perfectly into the next thing I'd tell my younger self. Understand what true confidence really is.
Ooh, that's a good one. What's the difference in your mind?
Well, when I was younger, I thought confidence was about being the loudest person in the room or pretending you always had the right answer. I thought you had to fake it until you make it.
The extroverted ideal? Yeah.
Yes, but that's not real confidence. True confidence is quieter. It's being okay with not knowing everything. It's being comfortable enough in your own skin to say, I don't know, but I can find out.
That makes so much sense. It's not about projecting perfection. It's about accepting your imperfections and knowing that's okay. Your self-worth isn't tied to being right all the time.
Exactly. I spent so many years trying to project this image of someone who had it all figured out. It was exhausting.
I can definitely relate. When I started my first real job, I had a terrible case of imposter syndrome. That's the feeling that you aren't really qualified and that soon everyone will find out you're a fraud.
Right. I think most people feel that at some point.
For sure. But here's the secret I learned. Nobody really knows what they're doing at first. The truly confident people are just better at admitting it, asking for help, and learning as they go.
So what would be a practical tip for our listeners to build that real confidence?
My biggest piece of advice is to stop comparing your journey to someone else's. Especially with social media, we only see the highlights of other people's lives. It's not the full story.
That is so true. There's a famous quote, comparison is the thief of joy.
It really is. So focus on your own progress. Celebrate your small wins. Did you understand a whole song in English this week? That's amazing. Did you have a 1-minute conversation using new vocabulary? That's a huge victory. Acknowledge your own achievements.
I love that. Focus on progress, not perfection.
Okay, so moving on from the internal mindsets, let's talk about external actions. For me, the next big thing I'd tell my younger self is all about habits.
Oh, absolutely. The things we do every day. What kind of habits do you wish you'd started earlier?
I wish I had understood the power of small, consistent actions sooner. For example, The habit of reading just 10 pages of a book every single day.
That sounds so small and manageable.
It is. But if you do that every day for a year, that's over 3,600 pages. That could be 10 or 12 books a year, just from a tiny daily habit.
That's the compound effect in action. Small improvements over time lead to massive results.
Exactly. It's not about making a huge, drastic change overnight. It's about the discipline and consistency of doing something small every single day. The same goes for exercise, meditation, or learning 5 new English words a day.
I completely agree. A book I love is Atomic Habits by James Clear. He says that tiny changes can lead to remarkable results.
I've heard great things about that book.
It's fantastic. One powerful idea from the book is, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your habits are your systems for living.
Wow. That's a powerful quote. It really puts the responsibility on us to build those daily routines that support our goals.
It does. And I'd tell my younger self to be more intentional about the habits I was building. To start with something incredibly small, so small you can't say no, and then build from there. Consistency is so much more important than intensity.
100%. It's much better to study English for 15 minutes every single day than for 2 hours only once a week. That daily exposure keeps the information fresh in your mind.
Okay, so we've covered embracing mistakes, building true confidence, and the power of habits. Mike, if you could give just one last big piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
You know, this conversation on habits and self-improvement is fascinating, but it's very internally focused. Something I tell my younger self is about the external world, specifically about the people you surround yourself with.
I think it would be to enjoy the process. Don't be so focused on the destination that you forget to look around and appreciate the journey.
That's a fantastic point. It's easy to get lost in self-reflection, but our environment and the people in it are incredibly influential. There's that famous quote, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
That's a beautiful thought. Exactly. I tell my younger self to be much more intentional about who I gave my time and energy to. As a teenager, you often fall into friendships based on proximity, who is in your class, who lives on your street. But I didn't think about whether those people were actually good for me.
Yeah, I spent a lot of my younger years rushing to finish school, rushing to get a promotion, always looking toward the next big thing on the horizon. I didn't always appreciate the now. That's a very mature perspective. It's hard to see that when you're young. You just want to fit in. I remember having a group of friends who were quite cynical, and I didn't realize how much their negativity was affecting my own outlook on life.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. We live in a very goal-oriented society.
We do. And goals are great, but life happens in the small moments in between. The funny conversation you have while practicing English, the satisfaction of finally understanding a difficult grammar rule. Those are the things to cherish along the way.
I couldn't agree more. And my final piece of advice would be a simple one. Just be kinder to yourself.
Yes. So important.
Your inner voice is the one you hear the most, so you should try to make sure it's a friendly one. Don't beat yourself up over mistakes. Don't tell yourself you're not good enough. Treat yourself the way you would treat a good friend who is learning and growing.
That's possibly the most important lesson of all. It really connects everything else we've talked about.
It really does.
All right. So to summarize for everyone listening, our advice for our younger selves is, number 1, don't be afraid to make mistakes. They are your best teachers.
Number 2, build true confidence from self-acceptance, not from pretending to be perfect.
Number 3, create small, consistent habits. They are the building blocks of success.
And finally, enjoy the journey and be kind to yourself through it all.
Fantastic. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for this conversation. I feel like I've learned a lot, even now.
Me too, Mike. It was great to reflect on these things.
And a huge thank you to all of our listeners for joining us on Learn English with Mike. We hope this episode gave you some food for thought. keep practicing, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.